Every day, billions of people consume substances that change the way their brains work. Some are poured into a morning coffee, some are hidden inside snacks and desserts. Others are illegal drugs capable of destroying lives. Yet despite their differences, they all have one thing in common. They hijack the same organ, your brain. So what actually happens inside your body when you consume caffeine, sugar, alcohol, cannabis, cocaine, or methamphetamine? Let's find out. Caffeine is the world's most popular psychoactive drug. It's found in coffee, tea, energy drinks, and even some medications. For many people, the day doesn't begin until that first sip. But caffeine doesn't actually create energy. It borrows it. Once consumed, caffeine enters your bloodstream and travels to your brain. There, it blocks a chemical called adenosine. Adenosine is responsible for making you feel tired throughout the day. As it builds up, your brain receives the message that it's time to rest. Caffeine silences that message. Within minutes, your neurons begin firing faster. Your heart beats slightly harder. Your attention sharpens. You feel awake, focused, and ready to take on the day. At its peak, the world feels easier to manage. Tasks seem less overwhelming. Your mind feels clear, but the effect is temporary. As your body breaks down the caffeine, adenosine returns. The tiredness you postponed comes rushing back. The result is the familiar crash, fatigue, irritability, brain fog, and often the desire for another cup. Over time, your brain adapts. You need more caffeine to achieve the same effect. And when you suddenly stop, headaches and exhaustion quickly remind you how dependent you've become. Caffeine doesn't eliminate tiredness. It simply delays the bill. Sugar. Sugar is everywhere. In candy, soft drinks, cereal, bread, sauces, and even foods marketed as healthy. The human brain evolved to love sugar. For most of history, it was rare and valuable. Today, it's everywhere. When you eat sugar, it quickly breaks down into glucose, your body's primary source of fuel. As glucose enters the bloodstream, the brain responds with a release of dopamine, the same reward chemical involved in motivation and pleasure. For a brief moment, you feel good, your mood improves, your energy rises, your brain learns an important lesson. Do that again. The more sugar you consume, the stronger that reward pathway becomes. At first, it's just a treat, then it becomes a habit, then a craving. Blood sugar rises rapidly, then crashes. Energy drops, hunger returns, concentration fades, and suddenly you're looking for another snack. Over time, excessive sugar consumption is linked to obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and chronic inflammation. Sugar doesn't feel dangerous. It feels normal, which makes it one of the easiest addictions to ignore. Alcohol. It slows communication between different parts of the brain. People drink to celebrate, to relax, to socialize, or sometimes simply to escape. After entering the bloodstream, alcohol begins reducing activity in areas responsible for judgment, self-control, and decision-making. At first, this feels good. You become more relaxed, more confident, more talkative. Social anxiety fades. The world feels lighter. At its peak, emotions become stronger while judgment becomes weaker. You laugh harder, speak louder, take risks you normally wouldn't. The problem is that alcohol convinces you you're functioning normally while quietly impairing nearly everything. Balance declines, reaction time slows, decision-making deteriorates. Eventually, the buzz turns into fatigue, the body becomes dehydrated, sleep quality drops. And the next morning, the consequences arrive. The headache, the nausea, the mental fog, the hangover. Long-term alcohol use damages the liver, heart, and brain. And the more often it's used as a solution to stress, the harder it becomes to relax without it. Cannabis. Cannabis comes from the marijuana plant. Its primary psychoactive ingredient is THC, a chemical that interacts with the brain's endocannabinoid system, the network involved in mood, memory, appetite, and perception. When THC reaches the brain, normal perception begins to change. Colors feel richer, music sounds deeper, food tastes better, time seems to slow down. At first, many users feel relaxed and calm. Stress fades. Thoughts become more free-flowing. For some people, this feels enjoyable. For others, it can become uncomfortable. At higher doses, confusion, anxiety, and paranoia may appear. The brain struggles to separate important thoughts from unimportant ones. Everything suddenly feels significant. As the effects wear off, thinking slows, motivation drops, fatigue sets in. For regular users, cannabis can affect memory, attention, and motivation. While it may not create the severe physical dependence seen in harder drugs, psychological dependence can still develop. Over time, relaxation itself can become linked to the substance, and that's where the cycle begins. Cocaine. Cocaine is one of the most powerful stimulants in the world. Unlike caffeine, which gently boosts alertness, cocaine overwhelms the brain's reward system. Once it enters the bloodstream, dopamine floods the brain. Normally, dopamine is released and recycled. Cocaine blocks that recycling process. The result is a massive buildup of pleasure signals. The onset is fast, a sudden rush of confidence, energy, focus, euphoria. You feel powerful, invincible, untouchable. At its peak, everything feels exciting. Every idea seems brilliant. Every conversation feels important. But the brain cannot sustain that level of stimulation. The crash comes quickly. Dopamine levels collapse. Mood plummets. Anxiety rises. Exhaustion follows. The desire for another dose becomes intense. This is what makes cocaine so addictive. The brain learns that extraordinary pleasure is only one line away. Over time, natural rewards lose their appeal. Food, friendship, achievement, none of them compete. The drug doesn't just create pleasure, it redefines it. Methamphetamine. Methamphetamine is one of the most destructive stimulants ever created. It doesn't simply increase dopamine, it floods the brain with it. The effect is immediate and overwhelming. Energy surges through the body, confidence skyrockets, sleep feels unnecessary, hunger disappears. The brain enters a state of extreme stimulation. At first, it feels limitless. People may stay awake for days, talk endlessly, work obsessively, or become completely consumed by a single goal. But every high comes at a cost. Meth forces the brain to release enormous amounts of dopamine, far beyond natural levels. As the drug leaves the system, those dopamine reserves become depleted. The crash is devastating. Exhaustion, depression, paranoia, anxiety, and an overwhelming need to experience the rush again. Repeated use damages the brain's ability to feel pleasure naturally. Over time, users may experience memory loss, severe weight loss, hallucinations, and permanent cognitive problems. Meth promises unlimited energy, but it steals it from the future. Conclusion. From caffeine to methamphetamine, every substance we've discussed affects the same organ, the brain. Some effects are mild, others are devastating. Some are socially accepted, others are illegal, but none of them are magic. Every boost comes from changing the way your brain processes reality. The question isn't whether a substance changes your mind, it's how much you're willing to pay for that change. Because eventually, every chemical asks for something in return, and sometimes the price is much higher than people expect. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay curious. See you in the next one.